Hello friends, today we'll be talking about reactjs interview questions. So React is one of the most popular front-end technologies which is being used to develop single page applications or web applications. So today we'll be going to the from the basics to the advanced level of interview questions which is being asked for the reactjs developer. So mostly we will be focusing for the beginners levels and some react with redux from few questions we'll be taking, but this tutorial for is for the beginner level interview questions. Okay, so let us see what we are going to discuss. So basically, what is reactjs, then features of reactjs, types of components in reactjs, and then what is state in react, props in react, difference between state and props in the react, what is virtual dom, what is how virtual dom works, control component, uncontrolled component, stateless component, stateful component, life cycle of react, different phases of react component life cycle, and then what are the advantages of react and what is the disadvantages of react. This will be the most commonly asked questions in the interview. Okay, then we will be going with the redux, also data flow through redux, what are the three principles that redux follows, then the components of react, component of redux and the react router. This we won't be focusing that much, but some the basic question which are always asked in the React interviews are state props, lifecycle methods, stateful, stateless, uncontrolled, control. What is virtual DOM? Virtual DOM is one of the most popular features of the React. So that is sure short question mostly asked for the React developers. Okay. So we'll be discussing this question. But before that, we are going with a competitors for the react. Okay, so for react we are having two more technologies with the front end. There's angular and vue js. Okay, but what makes react different is that react is a library and angular is a framework. So that's a major difference. You can inject react.js in any of your existing applications and you can start using react, which is just a library. Okay, and I hope you know about libraries and framework. If you don't know, I'll just put a comment below. I'll explain you by creating a new video related to the frameworks and what is framework and what is library. So what is react is a simple question, not mostly asked but may asked by the interviewer. Okay, react is an open source front-end javascript library which is used for building user interfaces, especially for single page applications, web application. React only handles the view layer of a web and mobile application. It only handles the view layer, whereas in Angular you must have seen the MVC part, model view controller. So wherein it will also handle model view and also controller will be there. So but React is just a view layer of the web application, a mobile application. Okay, let's go further with what are the major features of React, mostly asked. Okay, first is React uses a virtual DOM instead of the real DOM. Sorry, consider the real DOM. Considering the real DOM manipulations are expensive. Okay, it takes time. Directly doing modifying the real DOM, it takes time. Okay, wherein just having a virtual DOM in memory and then doing a calculation on the virtual DOM and then replacing the virtual DOM with a real DOM is less expensive as compared to doing the manipulation on the real DOM. Okay, we will going to understand how virtual DOMs in the data part. We are having a separate question for that. What is virtual DOM? How virtual DOM works? And okay, then support server side rendering, flow unidirectional data flow and data binding. So that's the reason it's very faster as compared to Angular. Angular had two-way data binding, but in the React we are having only one-way data binding. Uses reusable composable UI component to develop the view. Okay, these are the major features of the React. Then we are having types of components in React. Okay, we are having a functional component and class component. Functional are the, I hope you must have used JavaScript wherein we are having a function. So it's a very simple function. It will have a function which will be returning the React element. Okay. On this tutorial, I'm just going with a learning section of this React. I won't be showing you any code, but in future if you like these videos and if I get a good response for this video, I'll be surely creating a coding video wherein I'll explain you how functional component looks like, how class component looks like. Okay, but in this I'm just telling you the overflow on the theory part of the React, what are the types of the React components in functional. But I hope you know what is the functions in the JavaScript. Just a simple function, but it will be returning the React element. Okay, class component, like in the ECMA 6 they had defined a class component. I hope you can go through internet and you can see how class component looks like. Simple class component. Okay, when to use a React class component or a functional component, this is very important question. Okay, so when to use a React class component and when to use a functional component. So see, whenever we are using a state, that time we have to use class component. We can't use state inside a functional component. But recently React has introduced something called as hook. Okay, wherein we can use a state in the functional component as well. Okay, so in earlier React version we were not allowed to use a state in the functional component. Okay, so you can use a React hook wherein React hook has the set states, and then you can use a state things in the functional component. Okay, so I hope you understood this. If I'm not understanding anything, just let me know in the comment section. This is one of the most important question. What is a state in the React? State of a component is an object that holds some information, okay, such as is logged in, true, false. So it's an object wherein it will be having a key value pair. Key will be like anything is logged in, you can say true, and then you can set it as false whenever the logged out method is being called, something like that logical thing. But state is just an component is of a component. State of a component is an object, is an object that holds some information that may change over the time of the lifetime of a component. We should always try to make our state as simple as possible and minimize the number of stateful components. State is similar to the props. Props are also used to store the information, hold the information. But state is a private and fully controlled by the component. Okay, what is prop? Prop are the input to the component. Okay, so basically we are having HTML tags wherein we can introduce one HTML attribute, tag attribute, like we can say uh, react prop or name, and then while calling we can use this dot prop dot name, that will give you the name whatever is there in the HTML tag. Okay, they are the single value or object containing a set of the values that are passed to the component or creating using a naming convention similar to the HTML attribute. Okay, they are the data passed down to the from the parent component to the child component. Pass custom data to your component. Trigger state changes. The use let's see these dot props react prop. So react prop in h1 tag, if you are having a react prop as an attribute, okay, react prop equal to xyz, and if you are using this dot prop dot react prop, you will get a xyz as a value. Okay, and then inside the component render. What is the difference between the state and the prop? Both the state and props are the JavaScript object, while both of them hold the information that will influence output of the render. They are different in their functionalities with respect to the component. Props get passed to the component similar to the function parameters, whereas state is managed within the component similar to the variable declared within a function. Try to understand it. Okay, this is a very important line. This part is very important. Okay, why should we not update the state directly? How we can't use this? This is a wrong way. Okay, this dot state dot message equal to hello world. This is not a proper way. Should always use to change. If we want to change the state, we should use this dot set state message hello object. Okay, now we are going to talk about the virtual DOM. As I told you in the earlier part, this is a main feature of the React. Okay, advantage of React. So in the virtual DOM, it's an in-memory representation of a real DOM. It's actually the same real DOM is being copied in memory. Okay, and representation of the UI is kept in memory and sync with the real DOM. Step in between the render function is being called and displaying of the element on the screen. This entire process is called reconciliation. Okay, it's not an important, but we should know how virtual DOM works. Okay, virtual DOM works in a three-step. Whenever any underlying data changes, the entire UI is re-rendered in the virtual DOM. Data changes comes, the entire UI is re-rendered in the virtual DOM. The one not in the real DOM, okay, is re-rendered in the virtual DOM. Then the difference between the previous DOM representation, okay, and the new DOM is calculated. So there is a real DOM and the new DOM which is being created. There is a difference there checking. Okay, once the calculation is done, the real DOM will be updated with with only the things that have actually changed. This is important. The real DOM will be updated with only the things that have actually changed. Very important line. Okay, so I'll take an example. Okay, so there is one attribute called name. It's showing the name XYZ. Okay, and there is a date, sorry, time. will take a time. Okay, and the time is like 3:30. Okay, 3:30. So in 1 minute, the time will be changed to 3:31. Okay, so in the real DOM will be copied in the virtual DOM. Okay, but first render will take in the virtual DOM. It will change this in the virtual DOM, but in the virtual DOM name will be XYZ. In the real DOM also we are having name XYZ, but over here time is 3:31 in the virtual DOM and the real DOM is 3:30. Okay, so there is a change. So change will be calculated, and this will be only the time will be re-rendered in the real DOM. From the virtual DOM only time will be re-rendered, not the full part. Full DOM won't be re-rendered, only the time will be re-rendered. Name will be kept same because name has not changed. Okay, I hope you understood how virtual DOM works. Okay, control and control, not that important. Life cycle, this is very important question, mostly asked. 95% the interviewer will ask you what is a life cycle, React component life cycle. So life cycle phases, three life cycle phases: mounting, updating, and unmounting. So phases of life cycle. Okay, so you can go through this part. I will be putting this link of this blog in the video, okay, in the description. So wherein you can read this component did mount, component should component mount, component did update, component will mount. This is for React 16.3 plus. Okay, and before 16.3, component will mount, component did mount, component will receive props, component should component update, component will update, component did update, component will unmount. This is life cycle, okay, of the React. If you are going with a before 16.3, this is a life cycle. If you are going with a 16.3 plus version, this is a life cycle. Now they had introduced 16.8, they have introduced React hook. Okay, so in the functional, then they will be using a functional component. So then there is a no need of this life cycle methods. Okay, I would say no need, but there will be a use. But there are some different hooks they have used. Use effect, then use state, and all this. Okay, what is stateless component? Stateful. So whenever we are using a state in a component, especially in the class, that will be a stateful React component. And if we are not using any state in the class component or function component, then it will be a stateless React component. Simple. Okay. What is an advantage of using React? Increased performance is one of the biggest key factors of using React application. Performance. Okay. I think, not sure, but I think React is the faster than Angular. Not 100%, but they are both are having their own advantages and disadvantages, but React is faster than Angular. That's what I feel. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, just comment below in this tutorial so that I can learn from that part of it. Yeah. Okay, so then advantages: JSX makes the code easy to read and write. It both renders in the client side and server side also. Yeah, this part is also important. Okay, easy to integrate with the frameworks since it is only a Vue library. If you're having any existing project and if you are interested in using React, then you can directly inject these libraries in that front end and you can start using React. easy to write unit and integrated test cases using a tool test. Okay, disadvantages. React is just a library, not a full-fledged framework, just a Vue library. Okay, there is a learning comp. So you need to understand what is state, props, lifecycle methods, and all those things, stateless, stateful, all this. You need to understand. Integrate, but if you're having a code background with an Angular, you can some UI background, you will easily understand it. Integrating React into traditional MVC framework requires some additional configurations and code complexity. Yeah, this is also a part. Too many smaller components leading to over engineering or boilerplates. Okay, so purely component based. So what is Redux? Redux is a state management. Okay, predictable state containers for the JavaScript application based on the Flux design pattern. Okay, Redux can be used together with a React or any other Vue library. So basically, it's a Redux is a state maintain, management tool. Okay, so I won't be focusing much on the Redux. If you want, I can create a separate tutorial on the Redux. Okay, wherein I'll try to explain you what is Redux and what is the architecture of the Flux and why there is a need of the Redux. Okay, so basically, okay, that I can take a different part only. Okay, data flow with through the Redux and this actions, reducer, dispatch, stores, wherein we are having a common store in this reducer. Three principle of the Redux flow. You can read this single source of truth. This is important. Okay, components of the Redux: action, reducer, store, view, the React router. I hope you have used routers in the Angulars. This is similar to that. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And I hope you have understood what is React and some of the beginners interview questions for the React. And I have not focused anything on the Redux, but if you want, I can create a new video tutorial wherein I'll be explaining in depth of the Redux. And if you want anything training of this I had gone through the only theory part of the React. If you want, I can create a new videos which show you the coding part of the explaining with a code example. Okay, thanks a lot for watching my video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.